You're not ready to hear this if you are not ready to hear truth. If you love Jesus and you want to follow him with all your heart, now this message is for you. Now, it is important to understand this. The book of Isaiah, chapter 5, verse 20 says this: Woe to those who call evil good and good evil, who put darkness for light and light for darkness, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Let's understand something. If God calls something bad and an abomination, and you choose to call it good, you are putting yourself above God. You are exalting yourself against God. You are putting yourself as God. This follows Satan himself. For Isaiah chapter 14, verse 14, Satan said that he wants to be like the Most High. He wants his position, he wants his power, he wants everybody to obey him by going outside of the order that God has created. It is important to realize that Satan cannot create anything, so he perverts what has been created, and he wants people to keep what has been perverted. Now, spiritual things are discerned by spiritual people. There are three things that I want to emphasize in the book of Genesis: human beings, the Sabbath, marriage. Now, we see these as controversial topics today. Now, first of all, human beings, male and female. You see philosophical interpretations to define male and female. What is man? What is woman? There's no absolute truth. It's relative. Marriage, very controversial. You see how men, with their liberties, they encourage marriage to be what marriage is in their own eyes, not in accordance with what the Lord says. You see how God repeatedly has said how he detests same-sex marriage. Now, as I say that, this is not to say that God hates homosexuals. No, he loves homosexuals, but he hates homosexuality. There is a difference. Now, see how society often loves to push things that do not come from the Lord.
Texas City Council mandating use of preferred pronouns upon threat of termination. Employees of the city of Dallas, Texas, must use people's preferred pronouns or risk termination, according to recently publicized documents. An internal document titled Workplace Gender Transition Protocols and FAQ explains the city's expectations for conduct regarding transgender individuals.
Society encourage you to follow your heart.
If your heart tells you that you're the opposite gender, then follow it. But the Bible does say that the heart is desperately wicked. Who can know it?
You have society that tells you you can marry however you please. But if you are a Christian, you understand that if you look into the Word, you want to use your liberty to please God, to please the Lord.
What about the Sabbath? Do we see relative truth regarding the Sabbath today?
Some people say that Jesus is our Sabbath. Jesus is our rest. It is not a day. Some people say it could be every day. Some people call the first day Sabbath.
Gerald Groff is an evangelical Christian missionary who worked part-time at the Postal Service, delivering mail every day except Sundays until 2013, when the Postal Service contracted with Amazon to start delivering Sundays. Groff told his bosses he couldn't work Sundays because of his faith, said he'd work holidays and double shifts, but his bosses insisted, and so he resigned.
But if you look in the book of Genesis chapter 2, verse 3, you understand how God called the seventh day the Sabbath day. Many think it doesn't matter. Every day of the week is the same. Every day is holy, which actually doesn't make any sense, because holy means set apart. Every day being set apart from what? You know, all of these things are of Babylon. It is of confusion. Relative truth brings Babylonian confusion. Now, saying this with love, we are to follow the way, the truth, and the life, who is Jesus Christ. We understand that there is one Sabbath. We understand that God encourages us to follow his way of marriage. God encourages us not to follow our own hearts to define who we are, because the heart is desperately wicked. We are to follow Christ. We are to have his spirit. Now, this video is not there to condemn anybody who's doing any ungodly practice. This video is there to present truth for those who want to come to Jesus Christ and those who want to live for him who died at Calvary for you, for each of us, for all of us. All of us have sinned. None of us are better than the other, but we are to encourage each other to live for Jesus Christ. We can't force anybody to live for Christ. We cannot force anybody to live a certain lifestyle, but we can encourage and love to live the way Jesus wants us to live.